When we talk about practicing Vedic astrology or just how we read the chart, we may have two ways. One can be related to the more metaphysical or esoteric. For example, we say Vargotam planets are having connection to Rishi and they are also connected to the highest chakra. And the other group is saying, no, it has to be more mathematical, it has to be more practical, it has to be on the level of something we can use in our real life. For example, I had clients who were quite impatient when we were discussing things like curses or the yogas. They just wanted to translate it all for career life or relationship or health. And things like, for example, how much I will earn. Give me the number. So in today's video, we will be talking about these two approaches. Can we somehow unify them or we have to choose one or the other? So let's roll the intro and start with the first one. Just before we start, I've come up with that ontological proposition that when we are analyzing the chart, we are going through two types of translation. First is from symbol to the idea or energy. And then from that, we are talking about the practical prediction. So for example, the position of Malefic in the 9th house, it is just showing that there is something problematic to the Dharma or Bhagya. Dharma is the ethics, Bhagya is the fortune. So it means that something will be problematic, but you don't know really what. There are many options. And therefore, we have to be going to the other parts of the chart to really know what or how it can really manifest. So that part that there is a problem on the Dharma or Bhagya, this is the second level of energy or idea. Because Bhagya is quite abstract word or the meaning. It is very broad. It's like the fortune. There will be something problematic to your fortune. And how it can manifest, this is now the more troublesome, more challenging part of Jyotisha. And very much in tune with event-based astrology. So the first question comes up, how not to treat these rules literally? Do we have some tips here? Others, especially in the beginning of our path, when they see something in the chart, they are just loosely connecting the meanings of the planet and the house. For example, Mars in the 4th, conflicts in the home. Saturn in the 7th, ugly spouse. Or rather suffering or some challenges in relationship. Venus in 10th, a lot of enjoyment, artistic career life. Mercury in the Lagna, a lot of cash, right? So just we are connecting the planet and the house. So what we are really doing here, if we think about it, we are just ignoring the second stage of that. From symbol to the idea to the manifestation. We are ignoring the symbol or the idea. This is also how the religious fanatics or people who are taking literally the Quran or the Bible or the Vedas, they are reading something without the Kala Desha Patra, which is a time, place and circumstances. They are applying that to life. But there are many, many factors you have to unify with to end up with the final prediction. So we already gave that example with the cities. You have like longitude, but you also need to have a latitude to be able to find the city you are thinking of or you are traveling to, things like that. We were also giving the medical example. About the body, you have many layers. And if you would go to a doctor and you would get prognosis or diagnosis that it is only on that specific level. Something is bad with your bones, or something is bad with your blood, or something is bad with your, I don't know, nervous system. But exactly which part of the body, this is important because then I can do something with that. Otherwise, it becomes just something to worry or something to be relieved from, and that's it. But to make things actionable, to make things really as some advice, we need to have some kind of real more dimensions. So at least layer and the part of the body. Or at least, is it in torso area? Is it legs? Is it the head? So if you are learning something, it's good to know, is that thing which I'm now learning, is it broad or is it narrow? Usually those broad things are in the Rasi chart. And those narrower things are like Arudas or things in the divisional charts in the Vargas. So if you don't want to stay on that broad level, the two things may help you very much. One is related to the adding Karaka. If you start with the house, if you start with the Karaka, you may add the house. For example, saying like Venus afflicted, this is equivalent to saying something like something on your skeletal system. There is some problem there. This is just like saying there is a problem with your sun. It can impact so many areas. The Venus can be problem with your relationship. It could be challenge to your car. Could be challenge to your Ihaloka Sukha, happiness in this world. This is also Venus. Could impact your traveling. Could impact also things related to your sister. So many things. Immune system is also Venus. Does it mean that all the things will be problematic when the Venus is afflicted? Usually it will be only one or few of them. Therefore, we need to always take two, Karaka and the Lord. But you would say, but often it works. I have noticed that if moon is there, then it gives that problem. If the 8th house has this Lord, it's very often is giving that. Or you are somehow, you have that impulse to say the prediction, to go straight from the symbol to the physical manifestation. For many astrologers, when they are having this reading, they are giving some proposition. The client says yes or no. If no, then they are giving the second proposition, no. Third proposition, also not. Oh my God, the fourth, how it can manifest, right? Something will be right because you are always right on that second level idea. The problem when it's false prediction, it happens when from the translation from the second to the third level. So from the world of ideas to the world of manifestation. Because still on the world of ideas, on that second level, you have so many options for the manifestation. And that mastery, which is coming from second to the third, it is coming from practice. Because it's a lot of organic, it's a lot of feeling. We could call it intuition, but it's also just unifying various experiences, other charts you are doing, the practice, and also unifying a lot of knowledge. Because think about how many chemical reaction may come from the one atom that is connected to the other one, then so many options may come. So you need to know the full equation. The tip is write down in the rows the possibilities, whilst in the columns you may see different level of the chart, and then see what other parts of the chart are also voting for that specific possibility. And then you will know that if you will have like 2 or 3 voting for that one, then you will know, yes, this is the one. But you may say, oh, I like those rules which are giving me that concrete, this tangible things. Can I just be on that level? Can I start from that part? I would say it is like trying to find a restaurant when you have a 1 millimeter head to the map. You have a big zoomed in map and you are trying to find it. It's not the best idea. What would be better would be to first try the continent, then the country, then the city, then the maybe district. Then you have more chance to find that specific restaurant. Because otherwise you would be going whole day. And even then you would not find the right one. So if you start with this very detailed rule, you don't know the bigger category to which it applies. So therefore, you need to have those subtle rules from which you start, and then you are going to those more tangible. Don't throw away these broad rules. They are very important. as a category, and those giving borders, they will give a break to your impulsive flow. So they are like the categories in which, or like a garden in which the flowers or plants of those more detailed rules can flow. But you may say, okay, so it's too bad that we don't have the contact, or we cannot double on that level on those second ideas or those energies on all those spiritual matters, because it's so interesting. And because of that, some may go away from spirituality because they say, oh, ultimately it's all about the mathematics, about the rule, how you apply them and things like that. But it is just like if you are really fixed, probably you also had that experience. If you are into something, wherever you go, you will see those things. There's also one type of a bias we have. When we are into some passion, then we will see it everywhere. All friends' conversation, all we read in the newspapers or we watch TV, all signs on the streets, all will remind us of these things we are fixated on. That means that those who are living more spiritual, they are more in touch with those layer of reality. They may have hard time to describe it through a physical thing, through visuals, or through something audible, but definitely it is in that realm of feeling. And you can see those astrologers who are practicing also spirituality through meditation or mantra, they will speak about those principles in a little bit different way. And even I remember when Jung was talking about the Vedic philosophy and about people practicing it, I remember that quote, he said something like, when they talk about tattva, it is almost like they are touching it. So therefore, I'm saying that it's either the ideas, because it's more Western concept, or the energies, because it's more the Eastern concept, but it's the same thing. It is something which exists, so it's not only conceptual thing, it's a part of reality, but we are not seeing it. Therefore, it is close to Platonic ideas. So the tip is, if you are into astrology and you really want to master it, it is auspicious, it is recommended to live in a sattvic lifestyle and also do some kind of practice sadhana. Because then you will be closer to that reality, to that energies or those ideas. If then you are reading in the texts about the rishis, or about some form of bandhana or a moksha, or all those things, you will have a better understanding of what we are talking about. And therefore, if you are more in tune with that second level, it will be easier for you to translate from the first to the third. Therefore, it may be so hard for scientists or very materialistic people to understand or prove astrology right, because they are not in tune with that second level. But then you also need to be careful about the other extreme. You may say, oh, I like those broad ideas. Like, for example, I will learn at Makaraka planet and that's all. Or I will learn about the nakshatras and I will be giving reading about the nakshatras. Or I like the concept of Jatagraha, that the whole human existence is reduced to one planet. And especially for people who are living in a so chaotic environment or circumstances, any type of shortcut to understand reality is very attractive. Those astrologers who are doing that, they are also into the psychologized type or school or tradition or phase of astrology. Like in Western, we have humanistic astrology, which says that you cannot say anything about the external reality. Only you can say about the strengths, weaknesses, potential, about the subject itself. And those astrologers who are practicing that, it's not really their choice. They have no choice, but only practice that type of astrology. Why? This is because this event-based astrology, or how you translate from the second to the third level, it is coming in some form of instruction from the guru or parampara. It's usually something you learn in the courses or through some teacher from some school. It was usually some part of hermetics or gnosis. My advice, don't settle there, try to progress into the analytical or event-based astrology. Because imagine you are going to the doctor and he is, just as we said, is giving you that prognosis. Oh, something is bad with your skeletal system. Bye. So you will be like, what's going on? Where exactly, right? The second question comes. So to answer that second question, you need to apply those principles of event-based astrology. You need to find the way to develop those recipes or those dimension, right? Longitude and latitude, to understand better what's really the chart is showing in your life. What is the good exposure for that? Try to find the charts which are having the same position of planets. And you will notice how different is life of those people. Probably you already had such situation. If you are dabbling with astrology a lot, then there will be like I remember, I have a chart of a famous person who has the same chart like my brother. Totally different person. Also, I was going to my philosophy studies with a friend who has the similar chart as my other friend, who is artist and designer, who's doing some, even the work is different, relationship situation is different, they're living in different places, also personality is, there are similar things, of course, but how the Varga charts and the other levels of the chart, how they modified the base, they do it in such a way that in our physical, how we see those two people, their areas of life, like relationship, health, career, totally different. Second advice would be always do prognosis based on more than one, or even better, more than two rules. So don't be so hasty to state something based on only one position. Like we have Karaka, Bava, and Navamsha, then we go to the Varga chart. And the third thing would be Vargas and Dashas. So you will be more right if you would also apply the dashas. Because in two different phases of your life, you may have totally different situation. You are like, it's like two different charts. Wealth, finances is different, career is different, your also your goals, your direction. We can see that the person may totally change from one decade to the other. Therefore, the dasha is so important because it shows what is really important in the chart. Hey guys, so that was the fifth one, the last. I hope you liked it. If you'd like to watch similar video, then please consider watching this one.